Hello darlings, if you'd like to get creative with me, come join me while I make a Christmas countdown calendar with a bit of a vintage twist. So to make this little countdown calendar, you're going to need some air dry clay and acrylic paints of your choice. I've chosen some Christmassy colours here. Make sure to cover wherever you choose to work with the clay, and also have some paper to work the clay on because it's going to get pretty messy. I'm no clay molding expert, so I didn't have any tools, but I did have a spoon, and so that's what I used to take out all of the clay, and then started working from there on with just my hands. So the first thing I created was the base. So before you start forming any shape that you want, you need to really knead the clay before you shape it. So for the shape of the base, I just went with a simple rectangle, and I smoothed and shaped that rectangle with my hands and also pressing against the paper. That really helped to completely even out some of the sides. And after you're happy with your rectangular base, you can then move on to the sides to go onto the base. And you need to make two exactly the same size, and because we're not following any particular directions, as you go, just test it out to make sure that everything's the correct size and shape. And following the exact same method for the other rectangles, we're going to shape a rectangle for the back of the little box. And you can go ahead and score the clay. So this is like a crisscross with the addition of water to hold the two pieces of clay together. And you are just going to put this on the sides of your box. So that's where you're going to have your sides pressed against the base. And pushing the side wall into the bottom of the base, and you can smooth that over with your hands and a little bit of water if you need to make all of the seams seamless, and you can go ahead and smooth that out with a spoon as well if that gives you a little bit more control. And again, the exact same thing for the back of the box, scoring the bottom, scoring the sides that you want to connect together, and adding a little bit of water, and then pushing them together and smoothing them out. So now once the little box is put together, you can then pay attention to the finer details and go in with the end of the spoon and really close up those edges and really make it all seamless. You should also pay attention to leveling out the top because we're going to be making a little top to go on over this. Now for the lid, you're going to make a little long, I don't know what to call it, a little fat snake. Score the bottom and then score the top of the lid and press those together. So this is going to hold up our little picture on the box at the end, and that's what's going to give it that vintage aesthetic. Now while the clay is wet, we can't actually add the lid because it's too heavy and it will just flop straight into the box. So we're going to let these dry separately so that they can set before we connect them back together. Now moving on to the little section that goes in the box at the bottom, I'm going to have on mine days till Christmas, and then above that is where the cubes go. So you want to make sure to measure this as you go to make sure it fits in the box, and to also make sure that it's thick enough to put your letters on. Now moving on to the dice. So we're going to be making 2 cubes and we're going to be numbering those so that we can count down the days till Christmas. So it was actually a little bit difficult to form cubes, but you just make a rough odd shape, and then you can go ahead and smooth that out with your hands and then also with the spoon. And don't forget as you go to check that the cubes actually fit in, because mine didn't at first. I had to change the shape because my other one was too large to fit in. Now that my little box was built, I had to let it dry.
One eternity later.
Yeah, so these have been drying for about maybe a week, possibly. It's been far too long. But, I mean, really these should probably dry more than this, but I don't have enough time. I need to finish this up so I can edit the video. So I'm just going to go straight ahead and put the paint on this little countdown Christmas calendar. So let's get into it. So I'm going to go in with a red for the outside and the little rooftop, and then the dice are going to be white and they will have black numbers on them. Yeah, this will also be white as well. And I did draw out on it. I did draw out to see if I could fit in days till Christmas on here. And yes, I am aware that I actually made these kind of more rectangular than perfectly square, so you know, we'll see how this goes. They do fit in the little box perfectly one way, but maybe not this way, or like that will look really silly, but you know, we'll see how it goes. It looks very Fred Flintstone-esque at the moment, very handmade and terracotta looking rocks, but it's gonna look much better once it's painted. That's nice. Very straightforward. I'm just gonna go ahead and paint everywhere. Yeah, so try to make it look as professional as possible. At the moment it's looking very childish. Like I just made a finger painting of this, but try your best. Whoa! Also, I'd like to apologize, it's a bit close, for our ridiculously loud fridge. It just keeps groaning along. I'm going to be painting our little cubes white. This is one coat on this little block, and this is 2 coats. So you can definitely see the clay through there with only 1 coat. So definitely 2, and maybe I might even do a 3rd coat. I can't leave it like that. That looks stodgy as. I wrote directly onto the terracotta clay just to check that I could fit in the words, and I knew I could, so that was fine, and I went ahead and painted over the top, and then obviously I went back in later to draw that out again. Hello, I'm back. The next day everything's dried. I'm just gonna go ahead and put the numbers on the dice, but the only trouble is I need to figure out what numbers to put on each of the dice because there's only 2. So does that even work? I have to math for this and I don't know. Well, we'll see how this goes. I've got a pencil, so maybe I'll just pencil it on, and you know, if I make any mistakes I can paint over it and then write in pen. I'm such a silly duffer. It actually wasn't hard at all. It was really easy putting in the numbers, and I just penciled them in to make sure that I got them all right, and then I just went ahead and went over the top in pen. I started with a fine line and gradually made it darker. And I used the same method for the little label. I went in with pencil and then went over that in pen for Days Till Christmas.
Whatever happened to the rest of the year?
Guys, I just printed off my little vintage girl, which I meant to be sticking on the top of this calendar, and we don't have any ink left. What am I meant to do with that? So this is my very lovely situation that I have the ink ran out from the printer, so I just tested for size to make sure that that is the exact size that I want, and it is, but I'm gonna have to make a trip out to Officeworks tomorrow and get this printed in colour.
The next morning.
Home. I sneezed in my mask back at the bus stop because it was tickling my nose, and that was a very weird sensation, sneezing directly into a mask. For the vintage style paper cutout for the top of the little countdown box, I chose a little girl, but you can really choose anything. I'm using an old tissue box as the cardboard for the back of the little picture because the paper is too light by itself. So you're just going to glue those two together and then cut out the girl from the cardboard. Now that we have all of our individual items for the little Christmas countdown calendar, we can put them together. Thank you so much for watching. If you decide to make this little Christmas countdown calendar, be sure to let me know. I post new videos every Sunday, and I might even post a few little Christmassy vlogs during the month of December. So if you'd like to see more vintage content like this, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next Sunday. I don't have enough time. Oh.